everyone, this is Dr. Casey Johnson. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I know you're going to love today's episode with Mario Gomez and Sami Faraj. Mario and Sami are doing some amazing work and are helping so many people, so I'm excited to have them on to share their story with you guys. If you've been loving the Unlock Wellness podcast, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Also, be sure to follow me on social media to keep up with the latest podcast episodes. The best way to connect with me is on Instagram and Facebook. My username across the board is at Dr. Casey Johnson. That's DrKaseyJohnson. You can also check out my website at drkaseyjohnson.com. It has all of the past podcast episodes and more information about each guest under the Listen tab. While you're on my site, also be sure to check out the Shop tab, where you can check out my first book of my Healthy Children's Book series and learn about the Unlock Wellness Project, which applies a wellness bag to a child in need for each book purchased. Thank you again for listening. I hope this episode leaves you feeling inspired to start making positive changes to your health. Now it's time for today's episode. I hope you love my conversation with Mario Gomez and Sami Faraj. Welcome to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I'm Dr. Casey and excited for today's guest. I'm here with Mario Gomez and Sami Faraj. And Mario and Sami are both fitness experts and located in Tampa, Florida. And they both are doing such positive work, not only for their clients, but also for their community. So Mario and Sami, thank you guys so much for taking time to come on. I know we've been trying to plan this for a bit, so I'm excited to have you both.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Glad for you to have us both here. So, like you said, me and Sami, been working for some time together now. It's kind of funny how we met, actually. We actually kind of met on our journey to, bettering ourselves. We actually met in this network marketing business where it concentrated on personal development. And, when me and Sami first met, we kind of looked at each other and kind of realized we were both into the whole, fitness aspect of, developing ourselves a little bit better. But then, me and Sami really didn't talk much. We've seen each other in the gym here and there. And then I guess, Sami was looking for, someone to start something with him, with as far as doing stuff in the community and just trying to, help others in the community. Mm-hmm. And then, Sami, you want to tell her a little bit about, what you were thinking about when you, first started talking to him?
Yes. So, at that time, this was a couple years ago, I developed my brand Conscious Gains at the time. And I was getting started. I wanted to start boot camps locally in our area. And I needed a partner to start it with. I was starting, I was a little nervous. I needed someone who can be by my side and help me with this. I was looking around for some guys that were trainers in our area. None of them were really committed to it. So I remembered Mario from our leadership development group that we were in. And I seen him at the gym this one day, and I just like, yo, what's up, Mario? You wanna do boot camps together? And then he looked at me. He was like, hey, let's do it. And Mario's that type of guy that just goes all in and gives 110%.
So it was definitely love at first sight, right?
Definitely.
So why don't you guys take it even back a little bit further for me? So when you guys were both growing up, what was your own health and fitness life? Or did both grow up super health conscious, or was it a new thing later on, or kind of walk everybody through that a little bit too?
Well, for myself, I played football in high school, so that's kind of what got me into the fitness, kind of into working out and being more conscious of my body and what I consume. But I was always an active kid. I loved just, working out in general, but football was kind of got me into the weight room. And then ever since then, I fell in love with it. Graduated high school, and then started my brand right after high school. So literally right off the bat, started Conscious Gains, and ever since then, it's built a pretty large community, and we've built a pretty large network with other fitness influencers in the industry as well. So it kind of started in high school, but I was always an active kid in fitness and working out and stuff like that. So then high school was kind of what propelled me into that pretty fast. So so football was kind of my gateway to the fitness.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. What about you, Mario?
Oh man, as far back as I can remember, my mom actually would always take me to these gyms in Florida. They had these gyms called lifestyle gyms. It was like basically the old LA Fitness. But I just remember just from the time I was young, just always being in that gym environment. And actually myself, I kind of find my home at the gym. Like I found myself more in love at the gym, or like expressing myself at the gym. But it was, I was always involved into being active, whether it was football, basketball, karate. But it wasn't until about probably after I graduated high school back in 2012, where I really looked at myself and I didn't see what I saw in my head. And I was like, at that point, I just made the shift to, better myself, not only physically, mentally, in all aspects of life, just wanting to become a better person. So, I went through many struggles throughout that time period. And, I just want to give that back to, everyone else to learn from the mistakes that I made so they don't have to make those same mistakes.
Right. And Mario, you are plant-based. So like, is that something that you grew up with, like with your mom, or like, is that something you adopted later on?
No, actually, this is something that I actually adopted. I've been plant-based for now close to about a year. I'm actually going to be coming up on a year on May, but I was actually introduced by a friend of mine who actually, introduced it to me. At first, I was always, like I said, very athletic, into physical activity, and just really aware of my body, because I do yoga, meditate. I'm just really aware of, anything that really goes well or goes wrong with my body as well. But when I started making this shift from starting letting go of cheese, milk, even the processed foods, I started to notice the difference in how my body felt, how I felt emotionally, all these things. But I was just introduced to it about a year ago, and honestly, like, just so many great things have came from it. Just learning how much to value myself, not only for what I eat. It just comes into play with everything as the body as a whole.
It's pretty cool because, like, when you talk to a lot of people who are super into yoga, or like even meditation, or like if you go like look at some of like hardcore monks, right? Like most of them are vegan because it just increases like that awareness and
exactly.
Like, body awareness. So it's pretty cool. You do see that a lot. People seem to say that that's like hand in hand. Yeah, no, that's amazing that you did make that transition.
Yeah, and another thing I was going to mention that you bring up as well, like, once you start realizing, that as far as like attachments being attached to anything in this world, like, there's a lot of people who say that, they can't do this or they can't do that, but they've actually never tried it or never seen the benefits. Everybody's different in their own way, but, you can't really knock something you haven't tried, or, just always, always looking for the best you could become. And, that's where it always leads to,
Right. And, I know that you guys do a lot of like mindset work. Do you guys like apply that to your clients as well? Because I know you guys both do a really great job of putting that out there on social media. And I know that that's super helpful for everybody checking that out. But like, is that something that you try to apply with them as well? And then like the feedback that you've gotten from that, because a lot of people don't realize how much it helps when you're training your mindset and you're like developing as a person. And like, I mean, it actually is work. I some people kind of say like, I don't know how they can actually like work on themselves as a person, but it is an actual like task.
No, I got exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And I'm going to let Sammy take this one, and then I'm going to come off. I'm going to let him alley-oop it to me after.
Well, exactly. So working with all my clients, I like to tell them that I don't just do the physical work with you. I do the mental work as well, because like every client, I'll tell them, hey, I can give you the most perfect meal plan for you. I can give you the best workout routine to follow. But if you don't have the right mindset in place, you're just not going to follow through it. And if you do, you're probably just going to quit halfway, or when you face a roadblock or face resistance, you're just going to quit because you haven't developed the right way of thinking, the right mindset to push through these things in life, right? So that's my approach and Mario's approach as well. We like to target the mind, the body, And that's, those two are the main aspects. And a lot of people struggle with the mindset. It's honestly, I think it's actually bigger than the physical part, because once you master your brain, everything else just follows, right? Because life is just a roller coaster, and you're going to face resistance. You're going to face hardships. You're going to go through, different struggles. But you have to have the right frame of mind to be able to push through these things, and understand that these experiences are just, it's like school. You go through a struggle, you learn from it, you grow, you evolve. But most people look at them in a negative way and let their struggles, let their hardships kind of dictate their circumstance, and let that kind of be a burden on them, without realizing that that's actually a positive experience for them to learn from and grow and evolve. So that's what I love to do. I love to target the mind, educate people, question them. So it's not like I tell them, hey, do this, do that. I usually throw questions at them to have them just think for themselves, right? So why are you eating this food, or why are you eating this, or why are you drinking that? And then just, because I like it, or because, it's good. Do you know what it contains? Just throw certain questions at them, have them think. Because a lot of times people just do things because they just do. They don't really question why they go to work, or why they work this type of job, or why they don't work out, or why do they go home and just watch TV. They do things because they just go through the motions of life. So throwing
natural programming over
yes,
time.
Exactly. Because we've all been conditioned with certain habits and these things that have been just placed in front of us. So people just take it and go with it. And it's like, and they question, why is my life going this way? Why am I not experiencing this? Why am I not getting this? It's because you're just going through the motions. So me throwing these questions at them, like just simple stuff, like I said, just questioning their food, questioning their daily activities, and just have them think for themselves, so they can kind of just start waking up slowly. And that's really the approach, is targeting that mind and then the body. So yes, it's definitely a big part, and that's really what we try to get people to understand. So Mario can kind of piggyback off of that.
I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something that I personally struggle with, and I'm sure Sammy struggled with. This is not something that I believe that me and Sammy were born with. We fought to get to our mindset that we were. I actually believe that at a point I believe that I struggled with anxiety and depression and all these stuff where we are emotional human beings. But we can't allow our emotions to control us a lot of the ways that we do. A lot of people eat. Me and Sammy were talking about this earlier. This kind of plays into what I'm saying as well. That people eat for convenience, or people eat out of emotions, or But if you don't have the right mindset, you're gonna fall off. You have to see the bigger picture, or see the value in yourself. I used to have such a bad negative self-talk, and then I would see that reflect on not only my gym life, my personal life, my emotional life. It affected all areas of my life. Me and Sammy have encountered people where they've had businesses that failed because personal problems that they have, or problems that they're having within their head. It's just like you can't help others until you help yourself.
Right. And I think what we're lacking as a whole right now is just lack of awareness all around, because you're talking about the negative self-talk, but the crazy thing is most people don't even realize that they have negative self-talk.
Really?
So if something's just if you're listening, really pay attention the rest of your day. Whenever something happens, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? Is it, oh, I could never do that, I can't do this, my day was awful, all of those things creep in and you don't even realize they're creeping in. So first thing is awareness. So when those things pop in your mind, switch it around to, I can do it. Or, if I trained, I could do that. Or if I switch this, I can do that. It's all about just first off being aware, and then you're able to switch it in your mind. But it's crazy how many people aren't aware that the negative self-talk is even happening.
Even before we started this, me and Sam, we were talking the diet is not only what you consume as far as what you eat, but it's as far as what you allow through your vision, through your ears, all aspects, diet, you could say, comes into play, as far as what you consume. We go off of what we read, listen to, and associate with, that plays a big role on your life. If you hang around, people who do bad things, most likely you're going to end up doing bad things too. And then you hang around good people, most likely you're going to, have good tendencies, be happy, just who you associate yourself with also has a big effect on you. And that's why, I'm glad kind of me and Sammy have each other to kind of hold each other accountable. We talk on a day-to-day basis and make sure, we have good positive self-talk, and we're always moving forward and with whatever aspect we can as far as mind, body, and soul.
That's awesome. And Mario, I know that you do a lot of like yoga, calisthenic work, and Sammy, you might as well. I'm not 100% sure if you do, but how has that affected just your overall like mindset and positivity? Like, you gotta walk us through like how that's affected you, because like people don't understand the correlation sometimes, but it really has a big one.
Oh yeah. So let me tell you, like the first time I walked into a yoga class, right? I walked in and I actually noticed that I was the only guy in this class. So immediately, I was kind of already on my journey as far as personal development. Immediately when I walked into that class, my mind was like, Mario, what are you doing here? Like, you should immediately run out the door and never come back, because you're the only guy in here. So, but I had to take a step aside from myself and like really look at myself, like, why am I thinking like that? So yoga in general is, we want to find balance. So yoga, when it puts you in these uncomfortable positions, it's gonna bring up, your thinking. It's gonna let you notice what's wrong. It's not for you to judge, but it's just like you said, it's awareness. The first step to any change is first acknowledging what's wrong. Mm-hmm. So that's what yoga really helped me with a lot of things. And another thing that is really key is your breathing. You stop breathing, you stop living. A lot of times, like you said, when we get mad at certain things or we come into these uncomfortable positions, we lose our breath, or we stop breathing, or our breath comes sporadic. But your breath is basically how I go by is, if you can't breathe, you can't do it. Something's wrong, So that has helped me in so many aspects in my life. What we do, me and Sammy, is like basically customer service. We deal with people on a day-to-day basis. And we always got to be mindful of our breath and mindful of our clients' breathing, making sure they're, like I said, if you can't breathe, you can't do it. Something's going wrong,
Right.
So.
And about the progress too, because just making progress and not being perfect, because like
exactly,
yoga's tough. And a lot of people, I've heard so many people say like, oh, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga, or I can't do this. Mm-hmm. But like, even if you can only like touch the top of your thigh when everybody else is touching their toes, like it's not about that. You're still making progress. It's just at your own pace, because everybody's so different. And that could go with anything. It's just knowing that it's just progress, not perfection, and it's still progress over time. So
yeah, for sure. And just like to go off of what you said, it's exactly that. It's not it's about progress, not perfection. And I don't want a lot of people either to get the misconception when they look at my page, that, oh, I want to go try this. Before that photo, I've failed, 1,000 times. I've been working on this for, yoga for 6 years, and I'm never going to be perfect. Anybody who says they're an expert at something, they've, limited themselves to growth. There is no such thing as a perfect yogi, because what yoga is for me could be completely different for you. So it's about finding what is balancing in your life. Like I told you earlier, I had problems with my negative self-talk. So I had to, sit down and meditate with myself, versus somebody who's an athlete. They may need to do yoga that has, a lot more postures where they're holding it a lot longer, and they allow the muscles and the connective tissue to release and, get deeper into the postures and get more range of motion. So that's what I want people to understand with yoga. It's not just postures. It's about finding what's really balancing, what would be most balancing for you in your life,
That's awesome. And like, I know you guys put yourselves through some, pretty intense workouts. Like, do you feel like that has the same effects almost as like when you do yoga meditation in its own way, because you are pushing yourself past your comfort zone?
Well, I'll kind of explain this a little bit, and I'll let Sammy explain it. But yoga and, the workouts that we do, as far as the workouts that we do, I feel like that's just to test us and see how much we're capable. And then as far as the yoga aspects, that's really to, really quiet down and really figure out what's exactly needs to be fine tuned, I guess. But, like I said earlier, it's about what's balancing at that time in maybe today I feel, a little bit looser than yesterday and I may need to stretch. Your body changes on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. So it's about finding what's balancing for you. But as far as those workouts, that's more as far as like pushing ourselves to the limit, I guess you could say. But I'm going to let Sammy take that one as far as how we came up with our workouts and our,
I love it. Mario, you did a phenomenal job. And Casey, thank you. I love these questions. So, like we do a lot of strength training, especially myself. Mario's is like very into that yoga. I'm slowly getting into, becoming more flexible because I honestly neglected that when I first got into weight training and it caught up to me. So now I understand the importance of being flexible. And just yoga overall is just a great exercise to perform.
Yeah, Sammy, you're going to be a plant-based yogi in about a year.
Yes, exactly. Association, right? Being around. Exactly. So what I like, when I work with clients or just, the general population, I like to tell them like working out I relate it to life, because when you go to the gym and you get under the squat rack or you get under the barbell, you develop a different mindset, right? You got to get into a different thinking. You got a different way of thinking, because in life, you're going to go through this time of pain and struggle. Everyone's going to experience a tough time in their life, right? So I like to relate it to weight training because it starts to hurt, right? You do your first rep, it's easy. Your second is easy. Your eighth one, it gets a little harder. Your 10th, your 15th, depending on the weight and the amount of reps you're doing, it starts to burn and it starts to hurt. You're breaking down your muscles. You're getting broken down, right? So in life, you're going to get broken down to get built back up to a stronger person. So I like to relate the two together. In order to grow bigger, to build muscle, you have to break down your muscles. It's just a process that you have to go through. You tear it and then it rebuilds bigger, and it's just that endless process. And like you said, working out is a process. A lot of people look at myself, look at Mario, see him doing these crazy poses, see me, developing a big back, a big chest, abs. They see the end result. They see what I've, developed over 6-7 years of just consistent hard work. So they see that, and then they look at themselves and start judging themselves. No, people need to respect the process. The growth, the success I've had was in the process. It wasn't the end result, because I continue to work, right?
Right.
So people kind of need to just shift that way of thinking. Stop looking at the end result. Even in life in general, like when they see these celebrities, they see these actors just living it, driving the fancy car, living in a big house. They see the end result. They don't see the 10, 15 years of struggle, of just hard, consistent work they went through to get to that spot.
It's just crazy because, like, when people see people like that are super successful, and like people can hold some level of resentment, like, oh, it's easy for them, or overnight success, or like,
yes.
You look at somebody as like, like Tom Brady, successful person.
Exactly.
Obviously, like, but he's worked his butt off. Like, if you watched his combine, like back in the day, most unathletic person in the entire world. But but people look at him like now, they're like, oh man, like had an easy life. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's just the people, like you said, people see the end result and don't go back and look at the whole process. Because I mean, if anybody probably did the work schedule and the body care that he did, you would have a lot more respect for people like that.
100%.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Just relating the two, like I said, success is a process. It's not a destination. So, understanding that it will make life that much more easier for you. Just realizing that, okay, I have to go through these stages to get to that. And it just doesn't happen overnight, like you said. Yeah. And for example, a perfect example of this is Mario can speak on it. He worked with a guy named Charles, who doctor said he can't walk, and he'll be lucky to, I believe, get up from the wheelchair to the couch. And Mario, just by coming with that positive energy, coming with just a different way of thinking, got the man to be able to walk. So I can let him speak on that. And that's kind of to show people that nothing is impossible. If you believe you can do it and put in the work, you can actually achieve it. So Mario, take it over.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, Sammy. As far as when this guy, Charles, honestly, you sometimes think that you help someone, in a sense, like Sammy said, I got the guy to walk again, but in a sense, I'm like, this guy honestly saved me too, because, I could always look back on this story and be like, man, this guy, he was a type 2 diabetic, below the knee amputee. overweight, and this guy came to me and said he wanted to walk again. And I was able to get him to walk again. And I believe that was only in the fact that I believed in it. And I got him to believe in it so much. So it's like the power of belief and the power of mindset is, it's crazy. And it's honestly, that's how my name came about as well, the street doctor.
That's awesome.
So,
no, that's
it's just
so true. That's awesome.
It's just like, even myself, even like me and Sammy, like we look back at some of our old pictures back in the day and we were like these, puny guys. And it wasn't until we saw, we had that clear vision of our head of what we want to accomplish that we started seeing the results come out into the physical world. First, like Sammy said, we believe that it's more of a mindset than anything. It's more mindset than anything. Once you get that right mindset and you believe it in your head, it's going to start coming out into reality.
For sure. No, that's just amazing. Like, I think more, I know more like physicians and wellness professionals, and I mean, any profession really, like just need to understand like how important what they deliver, like the words they deliver are, because like you look at most, like, let's say like that guy, that the guy's physician said, "Oh, you'll probably never walk again."
Yeah, exactly.
Never met you, or maybe somebody else would have helped. You don't know, but if nobody would ever given him hope, then he would have never probably tried. Or you like look at people that maybe are sick, and you'd be like, "Oh, you have so and so to live." Like in your mind, you're telling yourself that, and it's just like I mean, who can really put a limit on somebody? Like you have no idea what anybody is really capable of. It's just like it's crazy when you see the lack of belief in those type of situations.
Yeah, and another thing that I'm glad you brought that up as well. Like as far as this whole belief thing, and like as far as me, I'm 25 years old. Sammy's 21. A thing that we're realizing in our millennial age is in this society, I believe that we've created making comfortable too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like my parents came from El Salvador. My mother was an immigrant. She actually crossed the border. Sammy's from Palestine. But, we both come from these countries where people don't have as much as what they have here. And I believe that a problem with our society now is we're too comfortable. Everything's basically distracting us from being the best you could be. We believe that we're too dependent on things. We don't believe in ourselves. We believe that, we need this crutch to walk, or we need this car to be happy, when everything that matters is, comes from within,
Right. Do you guys feel like having that family background, like it's giving you more of a push to like go after opportunities and like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
Realize how much better we have it.
Yeah.
Like, as a country.
I mean, I've visited El Salvador since that's where my parents are from. El Salvador is in Central America. I visited that since I was in like about 8 years old. And I remember this one time in specific that I went. I was going down to this fair, and I had and one basketball shorts and one basketball shirts. And I didn't think it was nothing, but I literally had these kids swarm me and like think that what I was wearing was golden. And I was, at the time, I really didn't understand it. But as I went through life, I kind of started to understand like the things that we take for granted, people are dying in other places for. And we don't really realize that, sometimes we don't realize these things until they hit our doorstep. Like right now, me and Sammy are also working on something else with a nonprofit where we're helping turn waste in Haiti to renewable energy. We have to realize that we're all one, we're all one link in this chain. If one of us is weak, we're all weak, we're all brothers and sisters. So it's realizing that, we have so much here that we need to take advantage of. And we're human beings, we shouldn't just go to clock in 9 to 5 and go home, watch, the news and then repeat. We're complex humans. We have brains that are capable of so much, and why are we doing so little? And Sammy, I'm sure you want to get in on this too.
Yes, coming from overseas, parents coming here, sacrificing everything they have over there to bring us here for a better opportunity. I feel like we not to say that people are born here are not, hungry or work hard, but a lot of immigrants usually take advantage of the opportunities presented in this country. So I came here when I was 4 years old, from Jordan. Both my parents, came here. Me and my older brother, they sacrificed everything, brought us here, just having a different mindset, right? We don't want to go back home, because if we go back home, the opportunities are limited. So I had this mindset of like, I want to take advantage of every opportunity I have. And I continue to go through struggles till this day, because of my background and what we've been through as a family. But that's just a whole nother discussion. But I don't let my current circumstance stop me from accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish, right? So if my time is limited here, I'm going to take advantage of every minute. And unfortunately, a lot of people in our society today take a lot of things for granted. For example, driver's license, being able to travel, these simple things that people come here for, they just really just don't take advantage of it.
Just even life in general, being able to breathe right now.
Yes, exactly. Right. So, experiencing those struggles built us to the individuals we are today. And I'm thankful for everything, and just leading by example, telling people like, you're more than capable of, just like Mario said, working a job, going home, and just watching TV, watching the news, watching. Exactly. Because that's just a cycle of death. You're literally not living when you do that. And we're just existing. Exactly. You're just existing. You're not living. Exactly. And there was something that I wanted to share. I just completely forgot. But if it comes back, I forgot. But if it comes to me, I'll share it.
No problem. No, I mean, you guys made a good point, both bringing up like that cycle of like work 9 to 5, come home, watch TV, watch the news, then you start your day with the news. It's like,
negative.
Like, we kind of have like an unofficial, what's more like an official. We're like, we don't watch the news like at all. because like, I mean, if you're starting your day off with negativity, you're ending it with negativity, exactly. Then the world seems scary and like everything is going wrong. People are getting killed, but these are like rare stories. That's why they're on the news. And the world is so big. Like, these aren't common things. Like, obviously bad things happen and it's awful. And like, I sympathize, but like, it's not the norm. And like, people take that as the norm and live in fear and don't do things because they're afraid. And it's crazy, really.
Yeah. And another thing too, like a lot of people got to start taking, I struggle with this myself at one point. Just taking responsibility for your life, stop putting the blame on this or that, like I mentioned with that nonprofit we have. A lot of people right now, I'm not going to even get much involved in this, but like talking about the government or this and that, like, if you want to see change, regardless if it's in your life, whether it's your community, family, the change starts with you. Mm-hmm. You have to be the change that you want to see. But, it goes back to what I said, we have to stop being dependent on things and just, take responsibility. When you're pointing the finger, notice 3 are pointing right back at you. So,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And you've mentioned the nonprofit. I know you guys both do a lot of work in the community. Like, do you guys want to like touch on that just to kind of give more info about different things you guys are working on?
Yes. Before I touch on that, I remembered what I was going to say. What I was going to say, like we were talking about a little earlier, we, like me and Mario, coming here from a different country, taking advantage of the opportunities. We live in I don't think Mario mentioned this, but we live in a microwave society, right? So everything is quick nowadays. People walk around with a sense of entitlement, like the world owes them something. Mom and dad owe you this. Mm-hmm. School owes you this. The government owes you this. Your employer owes you this. So walking around feeling like the world owes you something. So you don't really go out and just go work for what you want, because life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you deserve. And, I'm blessed and grateful that I developed this mindset early in my life, because I walk around with no sense of entitlement. No one owes me anything. My parents don't owe me anything. If anything, I owe them, everything, because they brought me here. So just that, I feel like people should just acknowledge that within themselves. Like, nobody owes you anything. You're in control of your life. You can create whatever you want to create. You just have to go out and do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, you don't deserve to reap the reward. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there.
For sure. And I love that you guys are both getting out in the community and talking to like younger kids and like doing this kind of work, because like, for people listening, like, Sammy is talking, like, he's 21 years old and Mario's 25. Like, how many 25 and 21-year-olds can you talk to that have that mindset and that awareness to, like, understand those type of things? Like, it's really amazing, honestly. I mean, I'm sure that you guys can't relate to people your own age because it's not a common mindset.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, sometimes we talk to people 10 times our age, and it's honestly a way that we've been conditioned. I actually heard a perfect example of this. Like, for instance, if you had a child and you're the mother, and before you go outside, it's cold outside, but your daughter says that she's not cold, and she doesn't feel cold, but you tell her, no, put on a jacket. So you're already telling your daughter not to trust her own knowing. A lot of times we're not taught to self-love or trust ourselves or do what we believe in. We are taught to do what is where everybody else is going is the way that I should go, So it also comes into that as well. But just trusting your own knowing and knowing that everybody's a puzzle piece in this puzzle, and they got to follow their own journey and, try to be the best you could be, not the best. If you try to be anybody else, you're always going to fall short. That's where I think a lot of people.
100%. What was the question you asked us about getting involved in the community?
Yeah, about the nonprofit and just different. And then also, like, if you guys are doing any other work in the community, which I think you are. But definitely dive into everything you're working in as far as, like, community work.
All right. So we, like I said, our association, we're very grateful for it. We have a very great association. I'm actually a campaign director of this nonprofit called Impact Global International. Like I said, we currently have a campaign in Haiti where we're trying to turn waste into renewable energy. Basically kill two birds, one stone. But there's many nonprofits in Haiti right now that have been there for 30, 40 years. And, how are you a nonprofit and saying you're helping these people, but yet there's still the same thing going around there. Right. So what we're looking to do is actually develop a system that we could, develop and leave there and have, the Haitian community run it and learn how to, have jobs or, just develop their own system. It's not that these people are poor or anything. They just have a lack of resources or a lack of opportunity that needs to be placed there. And that's all it is. And all we want to do is basically be the mirror of what they could already become, what they already have in them. But as far as, like we said, we're doing that in Haiti. But recently we asked each other, we were like, we're doing that in Haiti, but what are we doing in our cities? What are we doing in our homes? How are we saying we want to change this place, but we haven't even done anything in our community? So recently, I developed a community outreach in Tampa. It's over here on 22nd and Hillsborough. It's basically near downtown Tampa. Really low income area, just a lot of trash. But we're not just going out there with the intention just to pick up trash, look like, oh, we're here to pick up trash. It comes with a whole bigger picture behind that. We want to show people that we not only care about our home, but we care about you as well. And we're young and we're out here doing this on a Sunday morning, no pay, real early. And it's actually funny that while I was cleaning up, I feel like nothing is by coincidence. While we were down there, we had people get out their cars, say thank you to us, like really thank you. We went into a grocery store, had people pull out money for us, like trying to buy all our stuff. But like I said, when you give, you get as well. But I also know that we were down there for a purpose too, because when we were down there, we were stopped at a red light and this lady pulled up to the red light. And I don't even think she noticed us, but she opened the door and she literally threw out some McDonald's bag and looked us in the eye and saw us there with trash bags. But it was a sign to us, this is why you're here, to show other people that, you're picking up their trash and not complaining, what I'm saying? You're here for a bigger purpose than just being like, just pointing at one person. You're taking initiative basically, instead of pointing the finger, like I said earlier. I mean, we're doing a lot more stuff, we actually got this thing coming up too. You want to talk about it, the Millennial Minds maybe?
Yeah. So that was the trash pickup. I think it's a phenomenal project that Mario kind of came up with to do locally. Just like he said, people were getting out of their cars, thanking us for doing this. This is not our home. This is not our city. We live in a small city in Brandon. So we were going out of our way to go into a rundown community to clean up. But to just show people, like, just leading by example, right? So next time they'll think twice about throwing a piece of trash, or they'll maybe pick up after themselves, whatever the case may be. But just leading by example is what we're trying to do. Instead of talking about it, we just went out and did it. And we just had positive feedback right off the first day,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So another project that we're actually working on is called the Millennials Minds Meeting, which we just basically, to sum it up, very simple. We're just trying to get young leaders in our community that are involved in talking about different issues, like, for example, the trash pickup, and just kind of just target it. So we come up with an issue, there's a problem, we find a solution, and we act on it right away. Because there's a lot of groups that get together, talk about different problems, but don't really do any action. They just talk, take action maybe in maybe of 6 months, a year from now, right? We want to take action right away. For example, the trash. All right, Mario came up with it. That was a problem. We're acting on it. We're going out there every 2 weeks and we clean up. We lead by example. The group is getting bigger and bigger as we keep doing this. So that's basically the Millennials Minds, gathering a whole bunch of entrepreneurs, leaders that are young and just hungry to make a change in the community, to come together and just empower, on different issues. But, just for example, the trash being one of them. So just finding the problem and targeting it right away.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. No, I love that. Yeah, because like you said, it's all about actually taking action, and the more you talk about it, the least gets done. Or the more you talk about it, that thing gets pushed off, but then you could have had like 4 things done already.
Exactly.
And that's, that's how real change happens. Because if you just do one thing every so often, it's like you're not even keeping up with the flow. You can't even get ahead of it. So I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think Will Smith said it perfectly on one of these motivational
Oh, he says
speeches.
everything perfectly.
But he was like, sometimes we get so scared to, we get so caught up in building this wall, but we forget about placing each brick down as perfect and as precise as we can, instead of looking at the big picture or the big wall and getting really scared of how much change there is to come. It's about just, all right, we need to go out there and clean up trash. Okay. And then we run into the problems. We figure out the problems when they come, instead of, allowing all the problems, because your brain will always do the what if this, what if that, what if this, what if this, it'll always question everything, which in whatever way,
Right.
But it's about just going out there and doing it.
If you fail, like it's, you learn.
It's part of learning. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. And like, so is there anything that you guys are going to be working on in the future, or just, adding on to that work and, doing your work with clients? And like, what's your, like, I guess, big vision for what you guys are trying to accomplish with your company?
Right now, I would say we have a big trip coming up this month. Me and Mario are going to LA. Our first time going to California.
That's cool.
We're attending a coaches seminar. That company is actually called Wealthy Coach Academy, which basically I'm actually a part of, and Mario's coming with me to attend the seminar. It's going to be around great leaders, big social media / fitness influencers who will be there speaking. Lewis House was there at the last event, so hopefully he brings great leaders like him as well this time. So just being around those people, building a large network, just associating with people that are like-minded, doing big things is part of our goal this year. And just building our brands, growing, evolving, and elevating, and just continuing to build these companies. I don't like using the word companies, but for example, like IGI, the Impact Global International in Haiti, and just building the Millennials Minds Meeting. Focusing on these 2 things is going to be a big project for us this year. Just building that up and kind of just taking action on that and exposing it more and getting people involved.
Yeah. A little bit to go off of what Sammy said, I believe like what we're doing, like no matter what, it's always going to coincide with each other. Like I believe there is such a gap between people having a relationship with themselves, whether it's through their mind and whether through its body and, whatever comes after that, your soul or whatever you want to call it. But, there's such a gap into that. And I believe like how me and Sammy are attacking it together. There's no way that, it's our association. We have such a great association, not only me and Sammy, but there's a whole bunch of people that you don't see here or not even on this podcast that keep us going each and every day. And just looking at the bigger picture instead of just ourselves, Sammy and Mario. There's such a bigger picture here than just us two. We want to make a change. Sometimes me and Sammy are driving in the cars and we're talking about, bro, we want to make a change like Martin Luther King or some of these big influencers, Gandhi. Like, we have that vision and we believe that we're going to accomplish that one way or another. And it's changing the world is also not thousands of people. It's literally one person at a time.
Right. No, I love it. No, I love everything that you guys are doing. And what is the best way for people to follow you guys both on social media? That way they can keep up with everything that you're doing, as you post stuff at your conferences or, as you're doing work in the community. Like, what's the best way for people to follow you guys both on social media?
Yeah, as for me, Mario Gomez, you could follow me at The Street Doctor. The Street Doctor is just how it sounds, THE, Street, STREET, and then Dr. DOCTOR. And then you could also find my nonprofit at Impact Global International. And then, as far as on there, I'm kind of on Facebook as well. I got the Street Doctor page as well. I'm also working on that to get that up and going. And cool. That's Sammy. So.
And me, very active on Instagram is my largest platform, and Facebook as well, and all the other platforms. They're all the same. It's Conscious Gains, CONSCIOUS, like conscious, being awake, and Gains with a Z, guys. So GAIN with a Z. So Conscious Gains is my brand. It's all, you can find it on all platforms. So just look that up. My name is Sami Faraj, SAMI. Last name is Faraj, FARAJ.
Perfect. All right, guys. So closing question, and you guys can either answer this like collaboratively or you can split it up and each have one. But if you just had one piece of advice for the audience, maybe it's something that's been your biggest takeaway through your whole journey. But if you just had one piece of advice to give, what would it be?
I'll go ahead and tackle this one first. As far as my one piece of advice for anybody out there listening, I want you to believe that if you believe it in your head, and as long as you believe it and you believe it, it shouldn't matter what anybody else says or what this world tells you. You can accomplish it, and believe that, like I said, you are a missing puzzle piece, and there's nobody in this world like your puzzle piece, basically. So just if you believe it, you can achieve it, definitely.
And I would leave people off with this. So if you guys are listening, something that's changed my life, simple things that you can do daily is read personal development, leadership development, whether it's financial literacy, just educating yourself on real life things that you're going to use, and reading, listening to positive audios, listening to Casey's podcast, listening just to things that are just going to just change your way of thinking, right? So reading, listening, and association. So those three things are a key. It changed my life, and I believe it can change others. So reading, listening, and associating with the right group of people
changed my life too.
So read, listen, associate, guys. Yes.
No, I love it. Those are both perfect. And you guys have been awesome, and I'm excited to just see what you guys do. I'm excited to meet up with you guys in Tampa and just see how I can help you guys. And but just thank you so much for taking time to come on. I loved having both of you guys.
No, thank you, Casey. Thank you. We appreciate you so much, and we are here to support you. And
thank you so much, Casey. Likewise, we're here to grow together and evolve. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you loved my conversation with Mario and Sammy. They're doing so much amazing work and are changing so many lives. So definitely be sure to give them a follow on social media to keep up with the amazing things that they're doing. You can find their social media links that we talked about in the episode in the show notes, but you can also find them on my website as well at drcaseyjohnson.com. That's DrKaseyJohnson.com. Click on the Listen tab. Then from there, you'll be able to see all of the past guests that have come on the Unlock Wellness podcast, read a little bit about each guest, and be able to click on their social media links, websites, all of that. So all of Mario and Sami's information can be found on my site as well. If you guys loved today's episode with Mario and Sami, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Thank you guys so much again for listening to today's episode. I hope you loved it. I hope it inspires you. And most importantly, I hope you take action.